Hey there everyone, welcome back to Gamevine, and my name is Dave.
Trevor. Chris.
And we are back reviewing a game called Diamonsters, and really we're reviewing an act in futility, as one of our good friends calls it. And this game is kind of just basically a deck of cards, and what you're going to be doing is playing cards that your opponents have. These same cards in your hand. You got 1 through 5, and they're all these cute little monsters, and you're going to be playing them and trying to outwit your opponents and trying to accumulate 5 diamonds or less, depending on the number of players. And once you've done that, you have won the game. Now, IDW has produced this game, and they do games like Machikoro, which is one of the biggest hits right now. Everybody loves Machikoro. The latest game that Chris really wants to play is Back to the Future.
Yes.
So, that has some promise to it, though the thing about IDW is the production of the games is a little subpar.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a standard production, nothing grandiose, and you can kind of tell that with this game, as the box is ridiculously big for no reason. It's just a deck of cards. You could have did it with a smaller box, but whatever. Let's get into the components of this game, and then we'll show you how to play. Let's go.
Boom.
Alright, let me first start by saying a huge thank you to Patrick Walters for donating this game to us. This review would not be possible if it wasn't for that night of frustration. Yes, he gave me this game out of frustration. He didn't like it, and that happens a few times in our circle. So again, thank you, Patrick. He is a good friend in our game circle, if you did not know that already. So now let's go to the components. What you see is what you get. A exaggerated box. Let me take it out like here. There's the rules, and that's what the cards stay in. And the few bits that it has, the diamonds, they're done okay, I guess. But the cards are above standard quality, not linen finish, but a decent quality. I had to sleeve them though, because that's what I do. But there's a whole bunch of cards. The art is nice. So now that you've seen what comes in this elongated box, let's show you how to play. Alright, so to start, you're going to give everybody the same 5 cards, each one of the monsters, 1 through 5. They all have different abilities, but I'll get into that in a second. The aim of the game is super simple. You're going to be playing one card face down in front of you all at the same time, and then revealing it and trying to gather cards ultimately to win rounds, and then you win one of these little diamonds. You put it in front of you. When you win the appropriate amount of diamonds, when it comes to players, in like a 2-player game, you gotta get 5. In a 4-player game, you gotta get 3 of these suckers. So once you've done that, you have won the game. So now let's go over the details. You're not just going to be playing cards in front of you for no reason. There is always going to be a monster that you're going to be fighting for. Now, this monster has nothing to do with it. You're just trying to gather that. The way that you win the round and get one of these blue diamonds is one of 2 ways. You're going to have to get 3 of the same monster. So if I was able to get 3 trees in front of me right here, then I would win the round immediately and then gather one of these. If I were able to get 5 diamonds, you can see diamond icons here within the rounds in the cards. So if I had this 5 out in front of me, if I had this 2 out in front of me, he has 2 diamonds. If I had another 2 out in front of me, that would trigger the end round. And again, I would gather one of these blue diamonds. The other card here that has diamond icons, but they're broken, is the 4. If you put this in front of you, he's going to put negative to whatever your total is. And so this guy has -1 diamond at this point. This 1 here is worth 2 diamonds, and then that put him in the +1. Now, the scale of winning a round, so say I'm putting this one out here to try to win this 3. This guy's going to put this guy out here, and we all have the same cards. The highest number wins, with the exception of the 1 can beat the 5. So that's how the rounds go. But if someone ties, if anybody ties, if it's multiple players, they are immediately just canceled out. like the 4s here, and they're going to be taking the card and put it back in their hand, and the next highest number will win, being the 5, but that's ultimately the highest number anyway. He would gather that card instead of putting it in his hand, and the card that we were fighting for, and put it in front of him. He now has one of the 5s, one of the trees, and 1 diamond. He just needs to get 2 more of these white fuzzy guys, or 2 trees, or 4 more diamond icons on his card to gather one of these things here. If everybody were to tie and this monster was out, you would just discard it, no one would win it, and then you would continue to keep flipping and play the cards until somebody ultimately gets one of those end goals. You'll continue this process, and as people are winning, they have less cards in their hand, and they're more predictable if you have a memory of what they put out, so you can kind of counteract that and put stuff out that you know, like they only have a 5. Well, my 1's going down, and I'm going to get myself a solid 3 diamonds. So there are going to be mind games played around the table big time, and there's going to be times where you're flipping over the same card 3 or 4 times because you're like, nobody's really going to play 3 or 4 3 times in a row, because ultimately you're just like, oh man, I'm just going to play randomly, and then they play randomly and you guys tie. It's crazy. But that is the simple game of Diamonsters. It's a deck of cards with a whole bunch of silly monster icons on it and a number system 1 through 10, and you're just throwing cards out there trying to gain monsters and or diamonds to ultimately win the appropriate number of rounds. Once you have done that, you are the mightiest monster. So, what do we think about this game? Well, let's go to that segment right now and we'll tell you. Let's go. So that was Diamonsters, and as we always do here on Game Vine, I'm going to be giving this game a grade. I'm doing a percentage or a letter grade. These guys are going to do 1 through 10. So, I'm going to go first, and I gave Diamonsters a 65%. It's a low D. It's because I find it fun. I laugh every time we play it, but it's one of those games that is so small and frustrating, but to a good point. I'm frustrating and I'm laughing because I'm playing the tree over and over again, and for 3 straight turns, everyone's playing that freaking tree and no one's getting any cards, and we're not going towards the end goal, which I find personally funny, but again is an act in futility. The game is incredibly small. The components are just some dice and some little diamonds and cards, so that could be related to the lower grade, but it's just something that I would play, but I'm not seeking to play. Again, it's a good filler. It's going to take anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes, depending on how bad you are doing with your kind of mind reading of other people. But I think it's something that could be put into that bracket of small filler games, and you can just bust out during, in between games or before the night. So
family night.
Yeah, I'm not going to recommend this for gamers. I've seen people get incredibly frustrated and just want to quit the game midway through, but I've had people who've had fun with this game and had a blast in the process of trying to get these diamonds. So take that with a grain of salt. If this is interesting to you, if this seems like a game that you would play, go out and buy it. It's incredibly inexpensive, as are all IDW games normally, and it's something to, add to your collection and fill that void. So, with 65% being my grade, who wants to go next?
I'll go. Alright, I'm going to give this game a 6 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
I like the game, I really do. Like Dave was saying, it can get a little quick and can get a little repetitive a lot. Just all depends on what the other players play. You don't want to hit the same card over and over again.
Yeah.
But it has happened.
Yeah.
I remember there was a game we played, and we were at the probably midway point with players. I don't think we were at 6, but we had a lot of players.
Yeah.
And everybody, for the most part, was hitting the same cards.
Right.
So we really didn't get very far. But with that being said, I really enjoyed it. I could have kept going that all night.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, I think a lot of people didn't want to do it. They kind of wanted to stop after a while because we kept hitting the same cards.
So is that kind of going into your grade too, seeing that the lack of people wanting to play?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, I think that's why I'm at a 6, because, I mean, I continue playing. I loved it. I think the artwork in here, I mean, it's really comic book art. Like, I think all these monsters on here just look like straight out of comic book style. Of
And
art.
IDW is a branch. It's the same thing in comics and
right, which is why I think it looks that way. So for me, that artwork is great. I love it. The little components are cool, and it's just the little diamonds, but it really, I think it adds a little bit more to it.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I'm at a 6.
Nothing huge, but something that you like.
I mean, I play it. I would play it anytime. Like you said, I probably wouldn't recommend it, but if anybody wanted to play it, I would have no problem.
No qualms.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, Trevor.
I went a little bit higher than you guys. I gave this a 7 out of 10. For me, it's almost completely experience-based, and I had a little different experience probably than Chris, because I didn't play this with you.
Yeah.
I played this with Dave, Marissa, and Danielle.
Oh, yeah.
And we were just kind of having a good time.
Was that the pudding night?
Yeah, that was the pudding night.
Say pudding
night.
No, I'm not saying
I missed that.
You get to pay for that. That's like royalty-based.
Okay, good. Sorry.
But no, we just had a really fun experience. I don't think any of us were just like diehard trying, like wanting to play a strategy game, like wanting to win. We were just having a good time.
And that's perfect for that. Yeah, for a mindless
So I think when you're
game.
just like, you're all just kind of in a fun, mood, not really trying to do anything super heavy. That's why this game got a little bit of a higher point for me. Obviously, component-wise, it doesn't get very many good pluses in my mind.
Sure.
I do. For me, when I see the artwork, it almost screams like Monsters Inc. to me.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? It almost looks like something you would see in the credits for Monsters Inc. or something like that.
Gotcha.
So I did like the artwork. I thought that was
Solid.
cool. But I enjoyed the experience that I had when I played this game. So that's why it got a little bit higher than me. The components and the complexity of the game are what took it away from me. That's what took the points off for this game. It's never going to get anywhere near over a 7 for me. That's probably the highest I would give it, and I'm basing that off of the time that I played it.
Yeah.
If I played with a different group of gamers, it might have got like a 6 or even a 5, just because you're playing with different people. So it doesn't fit a lot of demographics and a lot of situations where you're able to play. It's very specific to the tone of the evening and kind of where your mood is when you're playing this game.
I think that goes back to, I think we've mentioned it before, with who you decide to play games with.
There's some games that are timeless, that you can play with anybody and they're always going to be an amazing game.
Right.
And there's some games that only fit into a certain
This
setting.
one you don't want to shower on people if everyone's having a bad night.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you said.
Just even more frustrating.
A party game this would fit perfectly.
Yeah, sure.
So, yeah, that's what we think about this very extremely light, fast-paced game. So if that entices you to, go out and add to your collection, I think our words pretty much say the same thing there. Until next time that we see you then, I've been Dave.
Trevor.
Chris.
Have a great rest of your day and a great time with all the Diamonsters that you play.
Bing, bang, boom.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
We're here to talk about the mythical game of Diamonsters and mythical smokers brings it about.
Did you do it like that? It's perfect.